agriculture. Now, it is part of it's part of Nigerians, it's part of us, and we are part of it, because this is how we solely fed, from time immemorial. Now, statistics say that from 2020, agriculture accounted for about 35% of the total employment we had in the country. Now, according to FAOs, agriculture remains the foundation of the Nigerian economy, providing livelihoods for most Nigerians and generating millions of jobs. Along with crude oil, Nigeria relies on agricultural products. It exports, generate most of its national revenue. And the agricultural sector in Nigeria comprises of 4 subsectors: crop production, livestock, forestry, and fishing. But again, we would reiterate the fact that we have seen some level of deviation from all of this that has been put out there, these things that we were known for before. Now there's been a deviation so far. I don't know what it is. Last week we were talking about how the reason Nigerians no longer are interested in agriculture, or why the youth are no longer seen participating in agriculture. And then we open up the phone lines to our listener, and every single person there said it's because there was a certain complex that was created. Some people how will I say? They'll say agriculture is synonymous to poverty or suffering. You have to be suffering for you to be a farmer. Some of these things are the reasons people did not like to be in agriculture. And then when you see the people going to their farms before now, you see them with tattered clothing, you see their shoes looking a certain kind of way, they are hanging their hose here, and it's not, I don't think it's not enticing. But then again, we talked about rebranding the sector, and over the years we have seen some people take on the agricultural business with so much sincerity and seriousness as well. Now we have someone seated right here in the studio, and when you see him, you'd never call him a farmer, because again, branding has happened and people have dissociated themselves.
He doesn't look like one at all.
They've dissociated themselves with the whole appearance that comes with farming and the whole narrative that people have pushed out there before now. So I told you guys, bell, or we don't want to say standing ovation.
Yeah,
it's a bell ovation. The first guest we have on the agropreneur segment of the show, the very first one, we have Mr. Adadu Ote. Mr. Adadu Ote. Yes, he has called the name for me like 100 times, but I'm still trying to.
Mr. Adadu Ose.
Okay, Mr. Dado is fine.
Yeah. Mr. Dado is fine. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Dado, for joining us in the studio.
It's good to
You're
be
welcome.
here. It's my first time of being here.
Yes.
It's good to know also I'm the first person to engage on this conversation.
Yes.
I want to congratulate the Eagles FM team first for making agriculture part of your discourse.
Yes.
I understand it's a weekly thing. Fantastic. Lovely. It means the station is also playing her own role in ensuring that food security becomes a front burner in our national discourse.
Yes, of course.
Fantastic. I appreciate it. It's a huge feat. Not many radio stations are doing this. You find all of them doing sports and all of that 3 times a day. But agriculture, that is our main area of strength, nobody's talking about it. So somehow I think also over time the media has also been a victim of not playing their own part. Just like you said from your introduction, Nigerians are tired of how farming has been done in the past. Yes, I agree, but the reality is that it's our sole source of livelihood. No matter how you sit in Abuja and assume that food will come to meet you, somehow you will still need that food. You cannot Google your food on Google and get it.
Okay, I like that one.
Somehow it must pass through a farm. Somebody is working every day. And I must say, since today is a workers' day, we will need to also celebrate every worker that is committed to production of food, anything that relates to the agricultural sector. The average Nigerian farm worker or somebody who is involved in any form of production are going extra mile. We have less of tools that we're working with, but we're making sure that people have food and have means to feed and live. So with all your swag, with everything you think you have, your billions and whatever you own as a person, your family will still need to rely on food.
Of course.
Irrespective of what technology is being put out there. Right now, there are certain meats that are being produced from the lab. At the end of the day, they will still call it food. So humanity, the way the Almighty, whether you believe as a Muslim in Nigeria, we recognize both Muslim and Christianity. These two holy books and even our traditional key actors understand that from creation, we have been designed to survive through food.
Yeah.
Food was actually part of what God has actually put in. And that's why when you read most of these holy books, you find out commentaries talking about how certain people, you hear about Solomon, you hear about this, like for Abraham is both in the Christian religion and in the Muslim religion. You hear about things like how the cattle he owns, how he was surviving when the garden was there. We all have this version of our story from different religions that we all believe as a people. So the reality is that from time immemorial, from creation, agriculture was supposed to be part of our daily lives. We are supposed to survive through it.
Yeah.
However, in the case of Nigeria, over time, when we discover oil, we all abandoned the sector, and then we now made oil our mainstay. Right now, everybody, and I'm not trying to say that government has no role to play, but when we talk about any role that government is playing, is actually our collective responsibility. And I've said it over time during different advocacy that we've been having. The truth is that both the private sector, the public sector, the government we are all referring to, we are also we ourselves. So as a people, it's time to actually activate our agricultural sense and get involved and do what we have to do to survive as a people.
Thank you, Ms. Osei. And right, he is the head, right, of the Agri-Minds Limited, and they deal with crop and animal husbandry, partnership, investment in the agricultural sector, and a whole lot of things in the agricultural sector. And it's so good to have you here again. Quite an honor to have you as a first guest here, seeing that you have quite a level of exposure and experience in the agricultural sector. Now, our conversation for today is centered around understanding the possibilities in agriculture, because I feel like this is one of the things that will make people to indulge in agricultural activities or indulge agricultural activities. Something that you don't know about, you have a misconception about, so you might most likely never get into anything related to such a business. But now, let us hear, what are some of the possibilities in the agricultural sector?
Okay, the agricultural sector, it's a sector that virtually everything is connected to.
Okay.
The cassava that we commonize, for instance, is a major. You're not wearing a heavy makeup, but I noticed the other lady with us too. She's on a makeup.
Yes.
It depends on that same sector.
Okay.
The byproduct of cassava form a major part, about 70% of what they use for cosmetics.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And in Nigeria, for instance, that is a sector that nobody is tapping. If you are a farmer in Nigeria, for most people who know, food prices have actually gone up.
Okay. Yes.
Most of the farmers who planted cassava
it has
last year are making serious cool money.
I hear it's about 54,000 a bag.
No, it depends on the type of bag.
Okay. It's not the general bag.
Yes, like in this part of the world, where, here in Abuja and other environments close to us here, is sold in. They use vehicles for measurement too. So there's a golf kind of vehicle. The label is around 250. There's another one, they call it pickup. It ranges from between that 300 to 450.
Okay.
And then there's a type of bag. The one is size 8, another one is size 10, and then you have another bigger one that is around 250, 200.
Wow.
So it depends on the bag you're selling. It will now determine.
So it's even more. It can even be more.
Yes, and there are markets or commodity points that these things are even more expensive. And there are also locations where the price may be different. But for the first time in many years, for product like cassava, basically, that is a staple food everywhere. You can grow it almost every part of Nigeria. For the first time, a lot of farmers made a lot of money from it because the price went up and they were really happy they actually planted cassava last year. Same thing with maize. And it's still a good time. The rains are just here. So for people who are listening to us, you can engage in any of this. No matter how little you can plant something in your neighborhood or within your space. I know that Abuja, everybody is tush, everybody. But trust me, a little drive from here to a location like Wagwalada, a location like Buhari, and other neighboring places, you can find something you can grow, and you'll be glad you did. Somehow it will support the family in a little way. But maybe the guys who are in Maitama and Sokoro and other parts, and where we are, may not need things like that. But trust me, they will still go to the market and buy.
Of
You'd be
course.
surprised that they even engage in farming much more
Yes.
than people in
It's
rural
possible.
communities.
That's very possible.
You'd be
So it's possible that they are living in, or we are all living in, to tush sports and whatever. But it's fine. We'll produce for them. Let them come to the market
And
and still
buy.
buy.
And buy.
So the reality is that if you look at every product in Nigeria, every state has capacity to produce something.
of course.
You look at people, for instance, come into Abuja. I met someone at Zone 4.
Okay.
He was assisting a lady to sell food, just to more like help her sell her food and just help out in the kitchen. So I saw how hard the guy was working. So I decided to just ask, Ross, what's up? Where are you from? I realized he's from a region, Nasarawa State here, where sesame seed is a big money. Sesame seed is actually one of our major export products. It sells very high in the international markets. The demand is high. In fact, if you choose to still sell sesame seed in Nigeria, you still make money in the local market.
Yeah.
A cup of sesame, I think from my last check on the commodity box, is around between 300 to 350 naira per cup. And same
Sesame.
with, yes, egusi has gone up. You know, these are products that everyday Nigerians consume on a daily basis.
Yes.
Where people consume them, like sesame, for instance. In the north, is considered more as a snack. They use it for snacks.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
okay.
In
roast
the northern,
it,
yes,
like
they call it riɗi kantu.
Yeah.
Aha. So, but when you move up to Benue, they use it for soup. You move up to the southeast, it's used for soup and all of that. And when you're out of Nigeria, there are other parts of the country, they use it for their major baking activity. So sesame seed, for instance, sesame as a product is something that people make millions of naira from. And a lot of people, like I was telling somebody, I really don't, when I see people in villages or people in rural areas, they actually live the best of life.
Yeah.
Compared to a lot of
Fresh
people.
foods.
They
in
have
the
the fresh
city.
food, they have good, they are making a lot of money from the products, and they are doing very well. So that's why you see that even when you don't send some of them money, they are just
They're okay.
They don't tell you, but they are fine. You know. So there are a lot of products. Are we going to talk about the livestock subsector? There are livestock products you can operate in your little space and make a lot of money. I saw a guy somewhere around Buhari, is a car wash, and behind his car wash, he had more than 400 chickens.
Wow.
Majority of those chickens were just local chicken. And to buy a local chicken now in the Nigerian market, open market, the least amount you can buy one chicken, if it's a local chicken, well matured male chicken, you can get it about 7 to 10,000.
Yeah, it's true.
So you can imagine that guy running that car wash and he's doing that. And I've seen there were people who have actually empowered, even with a certain kind of birds. They are just security men, and they were making money from selling those type of chicken, just letting them roam about the compound that they are actually protecting. They made more money than they will from that security job. So the opportunities are just endless from whichever way you choose to do. Okay, look at somebody walking into Abuja, for instance. You leave your village, let's say you live in Benue, for instance.
Yeah.
You sell your farm produce, come to Abuja because you want to live a city life. You come to Abuja and say, okay, I'm in Abuja now. And then you left that farming activity. Now you're in Abuja. You are doing Okada. The money you save up, you are doing Okada. How much can you earn at the end of the day? Most likely, you're not going to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Now we have something where people are doing hailing service, car hailing. People are running taxi of their own with under different company brands. Some people who are even doing that kind of business can even have a better life, growing
Than what
pigs,
they
for
already
instance.
have.
An average good breed of pigs can actually give people as high as 10 piglet per circles. By a certain circle. So you can imagine if you have one female pigs, one female sow, and then she gives birth to you 3 months, 3 weeks, 3 days after, and you're going to have 10 piglets. Now, seed will multiply effect of that 10 piglets in another 1 year.
Okay.
The money you are going to make from a matured pig at the moment that is above 150 kg, it's more than 300,000 naira.
Wow.
And I see people are now consuming that in
Yes.
Nigeria,
Pork-
even, man.
pork-
Outside Nigeria, even.
No, pork it's a huge internationally accepted meat.
Yes.
It's actually healthier than beef,
Yes.
which most people don't know.
Yeah.
So pork is another product. I saw a research paper recently where they were actually talking about how high pork consumption has actually gone up.
Yes.
Even in the FCT, for instance, I
Yes.
am aware because I deal on them.
Okay.
So I know people who consume more pork now than they do.
And if you check the internet algorithm, particularly Instagram,
yes,
you'd see that they're now pushing more videos on pork consumption, much more than
it's
any
more
other.
healthier. It's more
Yeah,
healthier.
I've seen that. Like I've seen that swap in the last 1 year.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
It's now much more.
And then
out
you
there.
find out that maybe because of the economic reality, for instance,
Yeah.
a kilo of beef now is around 6,000
6,500.
to 7,000 naira, depending on what location you're buying from.
Yeah.
Because I know somewhere within the city center that sell as high as 8,000 naira.
Yeah.
And there are other specialized shops that sell higher.
Okay.
Even some of the other shops they just shut down recently
Okay.
by
Yeah.
FCC.
Yes.
Those are they were selling a pork, a kilo of
It was
beef.
10,000.
It was around 12 something, you know, and we are all in Nigeria, we're all in Abuja. So the reality is that people can actually make a lot of money. They can create wealth from the industry. Whichever way you choose to exploit, when you do the right thing, you get things done, you can generate wealth. That is the reality. And the numbers we have in Nigeria is helping us. Abuja, for instance, every day you find thousands of people working. The last statistics was released, I think, 4 years ago that I saw about almost a hundred and I think 700 and something people walk into Abuja almost every day. And almost in every week, we have a very sharp rising number of people that are walking into Abuja, relocating to Abuja, even when they are not sure of any federal government work. People who just basically they are done with school NYC, the only place they want to come is Abuja.
Yeah.
Everybody's coming
Crowding
to
the
seek
city center.
for greener pastures. Now, this movement in population also will impact on demand for food. And that's why if you go to Zuba Market every morning, there's a lot of fruits and vegetables and food items that are coming to Abuja. And I tell you, they come in large numbers of
And they're
trailers.
sold.
By 11 a.m., you will not find any of those trailers. People have moved all that product
That's
in
true.
bits into the FCT.
Yes.
So that's to tell you the amount of consumption that is taking place in Abuja. And not just Abuja alone. Okay, for instance, we pick up just one product, let's say the chicken industry. It's about, it's roughly running into about a 40 billion naira market monthly in FCT.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes. In the FCT alone. We consume a lot of chicken in Abuja at a very high level. You will be amazed how much chicken people consume on a monthly basis in Abuja alone. And people still bring in chicken from other countries into Nigeria almost on a weekly basis. Yes, custom is trying their best, but these people are still importing this thing through other means and bringing it into the country. That I'm very sure of. It's if you go to the popular market where poultry products are sold in the market, you will know some of the products actually imported into the country.
Yeah.
As there was a time that it was even coming in from far away from China. And we understand then
the frozen ones.
yes, frozen chicken, yes. So, and these are realities that we all need to take advantage of as a citizen. We're not even talking about governments come and
Yes.
without the government or with the government, we can play our own little role from our little space.
For our various areas. Now
Right.
that you talked about that one, right? I remember that there's a market very close to me, Gariki Market. I believe you know where that is, Gariki Old Market. And as from 4 a.m. to about 5:30 a.m., you see long buses bringing fresh vegetables, fresh leaves, what is it called again? Palm nuts for banga soups
Yes,
and all of that, and then chicken.
Yes.
And then when you see this truck that is full of chicken, as from 4 a.m. Martha, you go there. There are people crowded, buyers.
Everything.
Yes, traders who come to buy from them as wholesales and then take to the various markets in FCT, like it says. So someone told me and said, "You run the restaurant. This is where you should be going to get chicken." Now, when they buy from that bus or that lorry direct, they will buy for about 5,000 naira. Then they bring it out and retail again for like 8 or 9,000 naira.
Yep.
So if I can get you correctly, you're saying that as far as FCT is concerned, there is a farm where people go to buy that much of vegetable like the ugu leaf, water leaf, and all of that in FCT.
Yes.
Even fresh corn.
Virtually every local government in the FCT has that point. That market.
Yeah.
Every local government, Buhari, Kwali, all of them.
You just know that that's the central market.
There's a central point where products are coming in.
Yeah.
It's there in Buhari, on the SCC road, it's there on Buhari. In Kwali, you have it at the central market area. They do it.
Okay, why do farmers bring it out there for them?
Yes. Most times, sometimes not the farmers directly.
Okay.
Sometimes you have people who are for product like watermelon, for instance, it's coming from the far north. So you have other business people who buy it off from the farms far away there. They transport it, bring it
out,
and make a lot of money. I know somebody who is trading on just watermelon.
Wow.
Alaji CD, he is based in Jigawa. He makes a lot of money. He hardly travel anywhere. He just sits from his shop. He knows the person who is going to deliver to in Zuba. He comes to Abuja once in a while, and he's a millionaire.
And you know the thing is, we make the mistake of thinking that we can do everything.
That's the thing.
You know, so we say we want to farm leaves. We want to do fruits. We also want to. That's vegetables now. We want to do fruits. We want to do vegetables. We want to do tuber crops. And you can actually pick one and specialize in that one.
Yes, a lot of people, because of the nature of agriculture generally, people do a lot of integration. Yeah. So you find people running an integrated farm. For instance, if you run a chicken farm, your certain byproducts from the farm can actually feed into your regular grain farm. Yeah. So you see people who run chicken farms are also doing grains. They are doing vegetables because they can pick the byproduct of the chicken and then use them to grow as fertilizer, which makes a lot of sense. So yes, integration is possible, but of course there are a lot of people who are also specializing in just one area. If you Google up on Instagram or other channels, you see people doing just snail. Yeah, I know people who just concentrate on just piggery. I know people who are doing goat farming, like that's all they do. Yes, and you never talk them out of that space. So I think basically it's a matter of choice. And I know people who are into meat processing, people who are running a full-fledged farm, people who have a meat platform and all of that. I have a livestock farm. I also run my own meat platform, where like a co-room, where I was running it up until Nefa started frustrating me in Kubwa here. But this facility is still there. I'm just trying to relocate it to another location. But people, you can integrate other services and other products that will complement what you're doing. It's still fine with the industry. All right, guys, it's Agropreneur, and we have been hanging out with Mr. Osei, Mr. Dado Osei. I guess you're right this time. Yeah, it's fine. Anyways, we have been hanging out with Mr. Dado Osei, and we are talking about the possibilities in the agricultural sector. There's so much of them. If you have been listening to the conversation, you're following up, you'd see that there's so many things that we can do as a people to change the situation of the food crisis that we're currently experiencing in this part of the country. All you need to do is make your research, do your research, and know what works in the region where you are, because it's about regional planning, or how do they call it now? There are things that are dominant in every region. People consume these things in this region. All you need to do is probably just look for farms where you can get it at cheaper rates, and you don't don't necessarily need to farm these things yourself. All you need to do is just look for farms that you can get it. Just be a major distributor. That is also part of the agricultural process. Right, let's head out for a little bit. When we get back, we'll keep up this conversation. Please do not go anywhere.
Hi there. Do you want to know how to get the correct approval or documents for your land and property? Do you need the right information on how you can prevent your building from being demolished? Then tune in to Town Planning Program on Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja every Thursday by 4:30 p.m.
Get updates, get informed, avoid traffic, and get home early. Tune into Traffic Rush weekdays 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja.
Telling real stories using humor. Oi, Okadodu. Odila dokalaga ponke.
Shin wai wani labari ne kake so ka ji baka samu ka ji ba?
Ola mo labarin na waje la tohoga abo hojeshe.
Kò sí ìkéde àbí ìròyìn tá ò lè gbọ́ lórí pẹ́pẹ́ yìí. Kanyine so ongwa ve nílùú ongwaga.
Willan gasma ye me do profinyi minyi ka Afrika ye ga fur radio da ka fu binyi permit minyi Nigeria Abuja ziyel nen.
na the place where you go hear ogbonge tori.
Irega benenu yare kuau no anye mauta dane no nanye magao no kage ya gubo ya gawu roza
metine kuma gbok me mane ke boy minta
Hoye gidda he bugo konko he bata do.
Yimbe da he hawo nhote woma.
Nda akụkọ wa icho eno na ịga anụ ebe a anyị nọ.
Kikindi wuobiti wuoi utawoi kakap.
Only on Gidigba Assembly, Monday to Friday, 7 p.m. on Eagles 102.3 FM, Abuja, Nawi City.
Nigeria is a country blessed with fertile ground, with our fields spread across the horizon. Are you ready to sow the seeds of success in agriculture? Introducing Agropreneur, your partner in pioneering accurate information on agricultural practices in Nigeria and beyond. Leading the way, innovating agriculture every single day. From the fields of Nigeria to the world's grand stage, we are planting the future, turning a new page. Join us every Wednesday at 11 a.m. to learn more about agriculture and the fertility of the African soil. Agropreneur, growing a bright future for agriculture.
Eagles 102.3 FM, Abuja, here to stay.
Anyways, people, we're still right here in the studio, Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja, and this is your radio experience you can count on. It's 20 minutes until we wrap it up here in the studio, and I have been hanging out with Mr. Dado Say, and he is the lead. Should I say call him a lead farmer, because the way he talks about farming is quite enthusiastic, of AgriMinds Limited, and they deal with everything agriculture. Thank you so much, Mr. Osei.
Thank you for having me.
It's good to have you. Right, it's Martha Silva here and Holy Ray, and together we're still on the show anyways, and we're talking about the possibilities in the agricultural sector. Now, let's again revisit what we talked about last week. What do you think are some of the policies and behavioral patterns that causes the discouragement, not just the youth now, and lack of participation in agricultural activities?
Okay, first off, in business and not just agriculture, when you are genuinely involved in any business activity, you will always get to the point where you feel discouraged about something. And I'm saying this based on personal experience.
Okay.
Whether it's the agri sector, whether you are doing you are running a boutique, or whether you're doing this in America, or you're doing it in London, or you're doing it in which other place again? Canada. That's where they're running to now.
Yeah.
So whichever way wherever you find yourself, if you're running any genuine enterprise, you will find issues that will discourage you, and it's normal. I think it's a humanity issue
kind of thing.
Now, when we bring that down to the agricultural sector, you will find other things that are bothering you that will push you to just let go and say, "Hey, I'm not doing this anymore." But for someone who wants to go into the agricultural sector, any of the value chain you intend to explore is about you sitting down, counting the cost, and making up your mind. Whether you want to get into that line of investment or you want to get into that line of business is a matter of is a personal choice. Now, when you get into that line of business, you will see things that you don't like. You will find things from the environment that will discourage you. I know there are makeup artists who will finish. I watch a video sometime. A makeup artist who did a work for a bride, and it was raining, and she had to go to church, and there was no umbrella in the house. Eventually, they had issue. They covered her. They entered the car. They were forced to touch and do. So those are things that they will happen to. Things will happen on a daily basis. Even as human being, that you are alive, you are going to face one or two things, but it's still not enough reason to say, "Oh, I'm not going to get involved." You will still have to find extra. In fact, even people being in a relationship is a big risk. You go through people who will break your heart, tell you stuff. You meet very terrible partners. At the end of the day, you move up. Some people will go through divorce and still come back and start all over.
Just, it's
the same thing with doing a business or running an agribusiness. You will find issues that will discourage you. But Gaskia is not enough reason to push you back.
Okay, so you don't even want to talk about why people don't do it whatsoever. But yes, I know that there are some policies. We know insecurities, but
matter. Why is it that it's people are discouraged from not doing agribusiness? Have you ever heard of anybody telling he's discouraged from eating and he will stay for the rest of his life and not eat? So if you will never feel discouraged of eating food, consuming food on a daily basis, why should you say this is that? So the food you are eating, for every time you take anything into your mouth, know that somebody spent some time growing that food, and that person who grew that food, you paid for that food. That person has also earned some money. That person or that farmer also has a reason to be discouraged not to cook. And sometimes when a group of us farmers, we sit and we just see people who just pass, this is quite personal. And sometimes I just look at them, I say, look at the people, when I see people who just misbehave. There was a day somebody was on traffic and somebody tried to run into me, and I just look at him and I told the other guy, I said, look at the same people who are producing food. Look at the person I'm feeding. See how he's talking and bragging. And I was just look at him, I just jumped into my car and we had a good laugh and left. So somebody is spending his time growing food for you. You are eating. That person is not an idiot. He knows what he's doing. He's making money, and that's why he's coming over to still do that. And he will go out tomorrow morning. It may be raining right now, and that person may still be in the farm in the rain to make sure you have food. Yes, there's a reason, but we cannot be discouraged. I know people who say, "Oh, Nigerian factor. Oh, the security." Yesterday we were having an analysis somewhere, and I was telling somebody that they say the forest is not even enough for people. People can't go in and farm. Insecurity, they are kidnapping people. And we realized that I have yesterday the brief I received from somebody was to do up a paper for certain key state governments on that issue. Do you know that our woods that we use for building and everything, the demand, what they are harvesting from the forest is still very high. The locations where they go to get most of those wood in the forest is like in the heart of the forest. And I'm surprised. I'm saying, how are these people going into the forest every day, bring the logs of wood? You get to Nasarawa and just take a little drive and see what is coming out of there. It's the same environment that some people are afraid that they will be security challenges. Or people go there, they would spend. I know people who are picking this wood. They can spend like 3 weeks inside the forest. And nothing happened to them, and they are making millions, and they are cutting the wood, sometimes even illegally. Anyway, that's story for another day. But reality, we cannot as a people be discouraged from producing our food, or because government is not. It's just excuses. Okay, we have fuel scarcity now. How many vehicles do we have in the whole of Nigeria? The number of vehicles we have in Nigeria. I'm not certain of the statistics, but I know that we are Nigerian numbers, for instance, as humans, we are above 200 million. Let's say 250 million at the moment. Maybe when they authenticate that. However, can you imagine a situation where you have money and you are unable to buy your food? We are talking about fuel that is just how many liters, just to move around. For humans, what food is to humans is what fuel is to cars. So. But people will spend the whole day and still get the fuel. They will even call this radio station. I'm sure they've called today
several times
and say that it took them so much time to get this done. But people are never discouraged. They will wash the car, they will clean the car, take it to the station tomorrow when the fuel finish. But why will people still go back to the farm and do what they have to do to make sure they have food?
This makes a lot of sense, because if we keep making excuses, we never might get out of the mess that we are right now. But again, let's talk about some of the things that can be done to see more people participate in agriculture. What are the things that can be done?
Financing is a major part of it. Okay. If you want to do real agriculture, and I say it's not even about doing a very big industrial setup for agriculture, but it costs money. to put it up together. If you're going to raise, let's say, 200 birds, for instance, you have to count the cost. It will cost you roughly 7 bags of feed. A bag of feed is around 16,500.
And I hear that it costs a lot to rear these things these days.
It does. The feed is actually 70% of your expenses. A day of chicks right now, as at yesterday, I got a report today. So as at today, we still have 750, within the range of 750 for that small tiny DOC, that small tiny chicken that you know. Some will die if you don't manage them well.
Yeah.
In between, the loss is to the farmer. It's around between 750 to 1,200.
I think it was like 500 before now.
It used to be 150.
750 now.
Yes. As a matter of fact, it used to be 110. It used to come down to 90 naira some days. And this is not like, I'm not talking about 80 something. I'm talking about 6 years, 4 years ago, 3 years ago.
Even 2 years. I
Yes. So some of the things that can be put in place, finance is a major part.
Okay.
So if government can enable funding for people who are involved in agricultural production, it's a good thing.
Okay.
Not political farmers. You understand? We've had Alcohol Grower program. Sorry, I have to mention the name of the program. But we're all in this country where politicians came in and took over the product. And some people are even facing EFCC, EFCC persecution. They are in court with EFCC for misappropriating some of these funds. So you see people are giving billions of naira. They own no farm. They don't even know where the mud is. They buy houses and relocate to Canada with the money that they got from government, or relocate to wherever, and are living a very lavish lifestyle on monies that ordinarily would be in the country to grow the economy. So funding is a major thing, and it has to be done to the appropriate quarters, not to auxiliary farmers. So that is it.
This is what the government can do.
Because finance has a way of solving every problem in the agricultural sector to a great extent.
Wow.
Yeah, we can talk of environmental, we can talk of security and other things that need to be done. But that can be handled. But when money is not there, we are not talking anything.
Can't do anything. All right. Thank you so much. Right, guys. This is Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja, your radio experience you can count on. And we have been with Mr. Adaju Ote. And we have been talking about the possibilities, exploring the possibilities that are in the agricultural sector. Some very key points that he made is, if we continue to complain about these things, we never might get a headway out of it. Just like when you do not see food, you go the extra mile to get food to eat. And you do not see fuel, you go the extra mile to ensure that you have them in your car. I mean, this is the same way that agriculture should be done. It is the first point of human contact and human earning. Remember, we talked about exchanging farm produce at that time, even to marry people. Some of your parents, they married them with farm produce.
I'm telling you.
Until they married them.
Some of us were sent to school
with farm produce.
Proceed.
Yeah, proceeds rather.
And I know millions of people listening to us can say that.
Can relate.
But the problem is when they now leave, you know that hardship they went through.
They don't want to.
Some people run away. I know people who intentionally left their local community just to run away from farming activity, only to later realize that it was a path to wealth.
The thing is that, you know, we talked about it last week. Some people did make mention of the fact that it looked like a punitive measure. You know, agriculture, people were made to farm as punishment. People were made to cultivate the land. Even in schools then, there were punitive measures. So people now have this PTSD, you know, they still this stereotype mindset, or this PTSD they're suffering from because it was punishment. So why would I want to do punishment as a means of livelihood? So you see.
Yes, I agree with you. There are a lot of things that happen to us psychologically as a people. But over time, I think there are issues that we can deal with. And I think also our institutions also did not help out.
Yes.
The universities, the other research institute, and then even our secondary school and all of that.
Okay, I think we have one person on the line. We're supposed to open up the phone lines, but we got carried away. Hello, good morning to you.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, welcome and thanks for joining us on the show. Please turn down the volume of your radio.
My name is Simple, okay?
Okay, it's good.
Last week, I was the one that mentioned about the punitive measures.
Punitive measures, thank you. Let's hear you.
Yeah. I want to specially thank this, your guest, Okay? Because he has basically talked about everything. And everything he says perfectly in order. However, we have, you can't still take away some issues, okay? Because of the sensitization in agriculture recently, people want to go into it. I remember when we were in school, back then in University of Nigeria, when we were studying agriculture, one professor, Madukwe, told us that until a cup of gari goes to 100 naira in the market, that's when people will go into agriculture. At that time, it's maybe like 12 cups maybe for 100 naira. But now one cup is even above 100 naira. But people are still not going because people are scared of their life. Insecurity is a very big issue. Of course, we know that security and terrorism is a multi-billion-dollar industry, whether you like it or not. Everything about agriculture is money, can bring you money into your pocket, including growing of worms. There are worms that are used for fermentation process, including for jatropha. Every single thing is money. Okay, I remember somebody, Professor Ndamujo, who went round the whole Southeast state looking for land for agriculture. He didn't get any. He went to Porto Novo in Benin Republic and got massive expanse of land, where he has done very serious integrated farm there. If you see what is going on there, you will be impressed. And those people that refuse to give him land have been sending people to go and learn from him out there and come back to replicate it back in Nigeria. These things they are not rocket science. We can do all those here. Again, power, electricity. Because when you talk about agriculture, you need to preserve, because most of them are perishable. We need to preserve these, the shelf life of this product. Okay, storage is a big issue. Processing, the pulverization of all these commodities, they are very, very important, and we need a lot to do it. Electricity is not helping us now. We have issues of diseases in the farm.
Yes.
And these diseases, they go a long way in reducing the produce. So by the time we take care of all these issues, we will understand that agri is good. The whole value chain of agriculture is very important. Is it the production, meat, food, fish, even the things that he mentioned? Is it honey? Is it milk? Is it the fur, the leather, the fuel, everything? Or when you go to agri-life, the processing, is it in the storage? Is it the input supply, like pesticides, herbicides, and all that? Is it in terms of extension services and farm education? Or is it in finance? Everything in agriculture, you can't just overemphasize the need for agriculture. All of us must put hands together to make a living out of agriculture, to make agriculture return to the mainstay of our economy. And people will earn from it, and we will get even foreign exchange from it. So thank you for this program specifically. You guys don't know the good you have done for bringing this program on air. And thank you so much, our guest. God bless you all.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here every week with us and contributing as much as possible. I think this is where we get to wrap it up here, Mr. Osei. It's good to have you join us. Right, guys, we'll be having him from time to time here in the studio, and we will still be talking about, agriculture. It is important. And the last caller just said, until we return to where agriculture becomes our mainstay, we're still joking. And trust me when I say we're still joking, because if you learn about agriculture and all of the things that it had contributed, to mankind, you'd know that we have missed a step that we need to retrace. Thank you again, and we wrap it up right here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Dada.
Thank you for coming.
See you again. See you again next week.
It's a good time, and it's also a good thing that we have this lovely kind of I like the setup in the studio.
Thank you.
So the ladies are also looking and talking about agriculture. It makes a lot of sense.
Nice.
So for our listeners too, I think it's important they also check it out on our
YouTube.
official channels and also go through the conversation if they need to.
Right.
Also
Thank you.
Go through it.
Yes, reminding you that we have this across all our social media platforms, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, which is now X, on YouTube, and of course on TikTok. You can catch us live and catch up on all the episodes that we have, and this as well. It's going to be an amazing time here talking about this. So please try as much as possible to indulge your friends and your families and let them know that there's